Alright, welcome back, everyone. It has been a very, well, not a long time, but long enough. Um, we are back with our back half of Season 2 for Star Trek Intelligence, but of course, before we go and start the game, of course, a little bit of plugins and self-promotions, if anyone wishes to do so.
Hey, Joe, you're not sharing the stream with us.
And I don't see it as live on Twitch for my end, but let me try reloading. Because it says offline for me. But...
What is happening?
Oh, no.
Mine looks good.
Okay, we are good. Well, it's gotta happen this way, right?
I'm gonna try reloading it.
Gone too long. We need the text problems before we get started again.
Yeah, and here I will also.
Okay, there we go. From my end, we're good.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Finally, I can see your beautiful face, Joe.
Your glowing face.
For whatever reason, the webcam decided to, at least on the Discord end, take forever to load up. But anyways, yes, we are back with Season 2 of Star Trek Intelligence. It's second half. And
Woo!
it's gonna be this season. But like I said, before we had our little miniature tech goblins do whatever they were doing, we have since punted them. But any plugs or promotions that need to happen?
Hi, I'm Slay. I'm a TTRPG performer. I got nothing to promote right now except for this stream and all the stuff we're doing. So watch us, guys, because we're amazing.
Hell yeah. I am Silver Sugar, aka Risa. You can find me places on the internet as Silver Sugar or X Silver Sugar, as the case may be. I am taking pay what you want art commissions at the moment. And that's about all I have on the pipeline at the moment. But hopefully getting back into my own streaming soon.
Hi, it's me, your favorite little legend, the Chaos Demon, the whatever. I am still an artist, and I post most of my art on Tumblr, which is littlelegend-art. Please come over, look at my stuff. I have a lot of new art, pixel art, comics, well, all sort of things. I have a commission sheet, please check it out, and I hope to see you there.
Your art is the only reason I ever go on Tumblr to see your art.
Oh,
Alright.
seriously, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well then, I suppose to get as much gameplay out of this as possible, we should jump into the game. So we will be right back in just a moment. Welcome back. All right. So, since the last episode, in which quite a lot of things happened in a very short span of time, but planetary destruction was averted. There was there were some hints of an adversary that's kind of been creeping along in the shadows, as well as Lieutenant Loris having received a particular Medal of Commendation that is seldom awarded ever.
Woo!
But
Hell yeah.
at the end of it, there was definitely a bit of a, I don't want to say a crisis of identity, but there's definitely a...
No, it was a crisis of identity. You got that right. It was a crisis of identity. I'm the character. I know. Yeah, you got it right.
Never mind. There was a crisis of identity. I was trying to be gentle about it, but Slay said fuck that and kicked the door down.
You know
Kinda
what?
like-
Good for you, Slay.
In my crop.
Like they did with Jaloran's mind.
We don't talk
Ooh.
about that yet, Lynn.
We don't talk about Jaloran's mind. No.
Oh my god.
That was good.
Jesus. Okay, well,
We have some energy tonight.
I think Lynn wins tonight. But anyways,
It's the bubble tea. It's making me jumpy.
but the
And Jaloran's still a little bit in denial.
yeah. So, however, this takes place about 2 weeks after that, back on Earth in Madrid, Spain. Throughout the safe house with the Sol Atlantic field office, all of you have finally been granted a shore leave, just time to rest and recover. For some of you, that means a trip to Trill, or all of you, depending on what you want to do. But with that, the assistant director is actually in your office right now, Jaloran, kind of looking over your reports and everything. You've learned he's someone who, as much as you just send them over digitally, he does prefer to just grab them by hand. He's weird and old-fashioned like that. Kind of just goes through. You know, with as turtled in as Starfleet has been recently, I'm amazed how much you've managed to get yourself into trouble. A lot, actually.
You haven't spoken to Chakotay recently, have you?
No, I have not.
He would have stories for you.
I'm sure he would, but we have our own issues here, and with the whole recent events, I know it's a couple months behind us now, but first contact day, that definitely hurt us a lot, and it hurt Full Circle Fleet a lot more. A lot of our communication buoys are damaged or need repairs, so messages are going to be delayed.
They are okay out there, right?
They should be. They have they have USS Voyager, and as well as 16 other vessels. Besides, a couple of them, they're pretty experienced, having been out there.
If anybody can handle them out there, it's Chakotay.
Yeah, well, I've heard tell his first officer is just as spirited. But I don't want to keep you. You have your own trip to do. And I have it cleared, but I do believe, Commander, this is the last time that you and I will be talking face to face.
Oh?
I was only holding down the fort. You'll have a new intelligence director for the Atlantic side by the time you get back.
See.
I don't really know much about them other than they're less personable than I am.
Handled worse.
I hope so.
It's been a pleasure working with you, sir.
You as well, Commander. Anyways, I am, Right, this is your office. I'm gonna step out. It's really awkward if I just stand here.
She just grins at him and gestures to the door.
Yeah, he'll walk and the doors will kind of slide open, that sort of... and then that shutting noise as well. But you have been cleared, to take a trip all the way to Trill. However, for reasons that are pretty obvious, the Hypatia is not to be used, as Hypatia is still a mission vessel, technically.
Yeah, this is shore leave.
However, you have been given permission to use one of the many Earth Starbase runabout vessels that you can access.
She also has her own personal vessel to use.
Mm-hmm. So the question I have is, aside from Tate here, is are Kavai and Lieutenant Loris joining as well, or are they going to do their own shore leave thing?
Honestly, Mira would probably join in. She is a little lost right now. She doesn't really know what to do, so she does need some company.
As for our good doctor, experimental doctor, Jaloran arranged for an exclusive spa trip for her and her wife and forcibly dragged her out of the lab and made sure that their leaves lined up, so she already saw them off that morning to enjoy their time off.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I will... yes, we're deciding right now, if Kavai is joining on this Trill trip, or if they're going to be left to their own devices.
From what I recall, last time it was determined to be, kind of Jaloran and Tate's trip. So I kind of had other plans, but I'm okay with whatever.
It's up to you.
Yeah, it is shore leave, so it's whatever you want to do. If you want to jump in and go to Trill with us, or do your own thing.
How far out can we go?
You're not limited to how far out you can go, technically. However, the amount of shore leave time you have been allotted is like 8 days. It's not a ton of time,
Yeah,
but it's not
you have
nothing.
you have to be able to get there, do whatever you want to, enjoy yourself, and get back within a set period of time. So
Let
time versus distance.
Let me do a think on it, and I will DM the GM.
Okay, sounds good. Taking your personal vessel, Lauren, or are you just...
Tate's also got a personal vessel, just in case anyone wants to know about that.
Jaloran's gonna offer up her personal. It's a souped up.
It's a type 11, right? Something like that.
No. She has a type 11 that she uses for official stuff.
Right.
But this one is actually long distance. It's a modified refit scout vessel, like you saw Data flying and
Interaction. Okay, I gotcha.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I just realized Tate's vessel is mainly used for racing, so we'll see. We'll have to do that sometime. But
yeah, Jaloran, when she got this one, had in mind doing longer trips and being able to get herself out and about beyond the planet atmosphere.
Okay. If that is the case, then, and if Lieutenant Lois is joining you as well, I guess, as your
I mean, as long as they don't mind.
Tate doesn't mind.
Jaloran doesn't mind.
Cool.
Yeah, then as if you're joining, then perhaps, Jordan, you should explain what the interior to your vessel looks like, as this is a personalized vessel and not something that is mission dependent.
The interior has been hollowed out a little bit more so that it's got a bit more moving room. And it is so it's got less in mind for being a scout and more for long distance trips. So it's got more spacious living areas, more room for like sleeping, eating, relaxing. But inside the hulls is like it does have basic defense systems. So if needed, she can defend herself. And it can achieve warp. But it is very much a leisure vessel rather than a combat vessel of any sort.
Achieving warp vessel of that size during this age, probably warp 6 is about your safest way you can go.
Yeah,
cruising
and she
warp 4 or 5, but you probably can get as high as 6.5 if you really are feeling nuts.
Yeah, she would only push the limits on it if she's desperate to get away from something. But it's something that she designed particularly, like, not to get in trouble with.
Mm-hmm.
she's aiming not to encounter trouble while she's in the ship. Which is why it's more leisure mind rather than combat.
Yep.
But it does have some modifications that would satisfy her paranoid minds. So it's got better sensors. Better impulse systems. Things that would not be easy to spot from the outside.
Okay. Yeah.
And it does, on the sheet, it's also got a slim sensor silhouette. So
you really?
Shocker, I know.
But thankfully,
but it
it
can
also kind of helped you out, in which you kind of put some wiggle room in, so your travel time will not be counted towards the allotted days of shore leave.
And then as far as how many people it can accommodate, a squeeze 6, but comfortably 4.
Mm-hmm. With 3 people, there's definitely quite a bit of wiggle room. So.
Yeah.
When Tate gets on to the ship, they immediately go to wherever the bed is because it's been 2 weeks without Hone. Their body's kind of in shock a little bit. They've been like, it makes sense that Mira's here because Mira's keeping them like, with her medical knowledge, keeping them like stable. And they are exhausted. They are just they haven't been out of bed that much, and they just collapse into, well, not quite collapse, but they just get into the bed and they just like whatever bed is like that, and they just like lay down, and like they don't look great. They don't. Not even their beautiful hair. Their hair is messed up like crazy. What, the drawing of Tate's hair is beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful, but right now it probably looks like, a college junior doing midterms.
Oh, I wish it would look that good.
Oh my god, so relatable.
But
Too painfully relatable.
And as much as Jaloran would want to check on Tate, she leaves Mira to that and heads straight for the cockpit to get things powered up and ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
As far as talking Mira, it's been 2 weeks, you said, right?
Yep.
So she must be better already, right? After everything.
She'll definitely feel better. Definitely physically you're fine. Mentally and emotionally, that's up to you.
Well, mentally she's still kind of reeling, but well, she can hold a face. But she's more worried about Tate at the moment, so she... Is there a way to, like, make tea on the ship?
Yeah, as we're going through, Jaloran quickly points out where the different areas are, and like the galley, where the rooms are, where Mira can find medical supplies, things of that nature.
Yeah, so what Mira does is she isn't gonna like make any specific medicine at the moment. She will watch over Tate and like see how they do. But she is gonna make some chamomile tea and bring the cup to Tate and instruct them to drink it, please, very slow. Don't rush it, and then just chill out, okay?
Okay. Yeah, Tate's hands. You've never seen this before. And Tate's hands are usually incredibly steady. They have to be when they're a pilot and all that stuff. But their hands, there's a slight tremor to them. There's a shake, and you can see them looking at their hands, like being very annoyed at their hands. Like, why are you shaking? As they grab the teacup.
That's just let your body heal itself for now, all right? And then we'll figure out everything else. There is no rush for a while, so you just give yourself time to, let it go.
Well, I'm currently not fit for duty, so you're currently my commanding officer, so I'll do what you say.
How about instead, you just listen to me as a good advice, and not a command.
I was trying to make a joke. I was trying to make a joke. It doesn't come out. It's the face and the shaking. It doesn't really come out well. But I was trying to make a joke.
Fair enough. But just anyway, you don't have to do everything that I tell you, unless I tell you to take medicine. All right?
Well, you're the expert medic, so if you say take a medicine, I'll take a medicine.
I wish everyone were like you in this way. Honestly.
Well, it's like I figure it's like I don't want people to tell me how to pilot, so I'm not going to tell other people how to do stuff that they're good at.
You're
Thank goodness
you're
you're
way
not in
too
the cockpit
mature.
with me.
Can we hear her say it?
It's not a big
As
ship.
she,
It's not a big ship at all.
yeah, she probably said something on her way by the room.
Mirror is like, I'm gonna ignore that. And I also don't think I'm gonna walk into the cockpit anytime soon then. Not because she's gonna criticize, but because she's a little scared of, you know, piloting and stuff. Anyway, she's gonna leave Tate to chill out a little bit. Hopefully, they can fall asleep after drinking the tea.
Tate is not going to chill out for a little bit. Tate is working on the report to Starfleet because Tate is nothing if not a rules person. So the report to Starfleet on their modifications and on their mother's role in it and all that stuff. They have that. They haven't sent it yet, mostly because they don't have the evidence to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
But they are going over it again because and they're still, even after 2 weeks, they're still conflicted about whether or not if they get the evidence, because that's not the main mission right now. But if they get the evidence, what they're going to do about it, because they have an excuse to not send it right now because they're like, I don't have any evidence. This is just my word against hers, and who's going to believe me over the admiral? But once they have the evidence, they're thinking to themselves, am I actually gonna torpedo my career and my mother's career? So
Yeah.
they're wrestling with that right now.
Okay.
On top of being completely exhausted.
Yeah, that can definitely be rough. The other end of things, in a different vessel, dropping out of warp after a couple of very, very boring days. Kavai, you actually drop out of warp.
Oh my
Thank you,
god.
Captain Obvious.
Stretching, all that good stuff. I'm so excited to get off this fucking ship.
The vessel you have been able to charter to what at one point was known as Turak Nor, or as now known as Deep Space Nine, unfortunately was a Miranda class vessel, which is just not known for being comfortable. This one unfortunately is much more known for shipping duties and cargo, which means spaces where there are holodecks, there are cargo bays.
Torture. Absolute torture. Kavai spent the entire time reading a couple paperbacks that they were on the reading list. They finished those pretty quickly, and then they spent the rest of the time restoring what are essentially like little Tamagotchis, but they have like little tiny emitters in them now. So they're a little bit better than they were, but they're still very like rudimentary. And any of the poor crew that have been on this ship and near her have just been hearing incessant beeping off of at least one of them at any given time. Because I think she has like maybe 6 of them with her right now. That's her current obsession project.
So here's the hilarious thing about Miranda classes in this day and age. Whereas back in the 23rd century, when they held a crew of like 300 plus, nowadays they generally only hold a crew of about 36.
Cool.
And so, well, there are moments where you have quite a lot of space to yourself. There are also moments of like, unfortunately, by the end of this trip, or maybe fortunately, it depends on how you view it, most everyone knows you to some degree.
Okay. Kavai would have definitely like found the few people that she can vibe with, but it's probably not too many. And they've definitely spent a lot of time on with their little devices, hobby projects, reading, or trying to keep informed with any of their contacts. It's been a lot of back and forths that are slow going.
Mm-hmm.
But they are still very happy to be off this tiny, not their home ship.
There is also, the wonderful thing also about a Miranda class is they can just dock with the station. They don't have to use transporters. So
Yay!
as the
In that case, she's definitely like bouncing on her toes, like first at the door, waiting mode.
there is as the door or hatch opens, there is a long hall. Definitely not Starfleet issue. Definitely very indicative of Cardassian design, and now most recently, definitely some more Bajoran influence. As you are guided by Bajoran security, and are led kind of, you're given kind of the whole spiel of like, here's what's allowed, here's what's not allowed. You're Starfleet, so you have some little bit of privileges this way, but also this is technically, well, this is Starfleet affiliated station. It's not a Starfleet station, so
her eyes glaze over about halfway through.
yeah, there's a point where the like assigned Betazoid officer, who you gather is probably empath, not
hang on.
telepath.
No, that changes everything. There's a wall. Like, Kavai's bad at holding shit in. She is aware that other people can at all times feel her. It is different when someone can read their mind. They're uncomfortable.
This Betazoid probably can't read mind. The empath not.
I don't want to call Kavai racist, but there's a problem. It is instinctual, and she hates that about herself.
Okay. Well, they have the pips of an ensign, so they're not super high in the ranking, but well, if there's anything you need, just let us know, and enjoy your time here.
Thank you very much. It's like that sort of like too wide smile of like, I need to get out of this conversation. And
They're empathic. They know the lines. They're gonna just leave.
She books it down the hall. And I think is more so than any of the more crowded places on Earth that Kavai has visited, I think DS9 is immediately like not full sensory overload, but like pretty damn near close. Of just like, she had a place to be, she knew her schedule, but the moment she's here, she's like, oh, there's a lot here, actually.
That sensory overload probably also makes it so you just aren't super aware of certain things. And you do, like, as you're trying to, like, sprint and move, you do actually collide with someone who, uh,
Well, that's gonna suck a lot more for them than it is gonna.
yeah,
Um.
they there's like instantaneous little wafts of like irritation, and then just an apologetic feeling, and then something that you can't narrow down. But they appear to be human. They have sort of shorter, like ruddy brown hair, and a little bit of wearing something a little archaic. Is You can tell they are wearing what looks to be probably corrective contacts, because the human eyes do not have that natural type of like almost purple pinkish color to them. She is definitely wearing an attire that says civilian mostly, but does have the junior grade lieutenant pips kind of held down, like worn almost vertically, and a old comm badge that's probably 20 years old at this point. She kind of stands up and dusts herself off. I am so sorry.
Oh, did I knock her like fully to the ground?
Yeah.
Oh, like just so apologetic. I am so sorry. Was she carrying anything?
She wasn't carrying anything except for a few like data sticks.
Okay, well, I helped pick all of those up, and I am so sorry. I would offer to help you up, but I don't think you want that from me. Shit.
Well, I can see this is awkward for both of us, mainly for you, I think. First time on Deep Space Nine?
Yeah. Yes, shore leave.
Shore leave on Deep Space Nine. That's a choice. Well,
A bit more of a working vacation, really. But
okay, well,
don't
it's
tell
not really
don't tell
shore
my
leave, is it?
commanding officers that. Anyway. Hi, sorry.
I'm a junior grade lieutenant. I am not affiliated with whatever ship you're from. So, but you know, shore leave on Deep Space Nine. That's its own little form of chaos. Its own little weird ecosystem we got going on here.
So I hear.
Yeah.
But forgive me, where are my manners? I'm Kavai.
Esme Taeth.
Esme, okay. I will do my best to remember. And they mean it when they say it.
Science blues, so... But you strike me as someone who couldn't... And forgive me for saying this, but you strike me as someone who couldn't stand to be out doing any type of planetary surveys, so...
No. No, I am usually holed up in the cave.
Analyst.
A lot of my work from the holodecks, actually.
Holographic analyst. Not very common.
Ish. I have other duties as well, but
Well,
that's where I was at the moment.
Well, from one analyst to another, welcome to Deep Space Nine. I'm also not actually from here.
Oh.
I'm actually part of the Starfleet Historical Records, so...
Oh. Your ears kind of perk up at that one. Well, I might have to, pick your brain later.
I don't have anything going on right now.
Oh,
Box is
well.
only a deck away.
Ah. How convenient. I might have to go there anyway. And, I think, they'll kind of step in line together and Kavai will allow themselves to be led there, and sort of just like in that way that you meet someone you vibe with, like no filter. Kavai will just sort of like catch them up on like little bits of how they got here, like that sort of thing. Like it's not often that Kavai just vibes with someone, but they're in the mood to vibe, apparently. They feel chatty.
Well, do you have any preference at Quarks, or should I just...
Not a preference per se, but I am supposed to be meeting someone.
I see. Well then. Two Bajoran spice tonics. The bartender that's there is like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
They will like question like and lean over. Oh, I take that back. Nothing alcoholic, please.
Oh, these ones? No, they're not alcoholic.
Okay, good. Just checking. I can never tell. Not my usual haunt.
These were popular in the occupation days of the Bajoran resistant militia, from what I hear.
Fascinating.
It's like a touch. It's like the taste of it is very herbal spice, almost with followed by like a cinnamony aftertaste. That's maybe just a little too intense.
Probably. Maybe something that sounds like it would be better like over dessert, like the kind of flavors, like to have something sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
You meeting anyone here? Is there any particular person that you're meeting?
I just have a handle. And they'll go through one of their pads and try to scroll through and find their contact's name. It would be just like the equivalent of like an internet handle. So it like could be like nonsense to most folks.
Okay. Does this have something to do with what you went through the other weeks?
A little bit. They, without giving like too much information away, they are still trying to track down stuff on Tate's behalf. Not telling them as much, because when would Kavai ever? But it is in the back of their mind. The other meeting they have here is not until the next day. So,
is there a particular person you're looking to meet right now? Or?
That is up to you, GM. I don't know who their contact is.
Well then, who you are going to run into is, you definitely see a Bolian that civvies probably a civilian transport, kind of begin making your way over before you, looks like they're about to strike up conversation before they are gently pushed aside by, someone you really weren't expecting, which looks like, probably a Nausicaan pirate.
Oh, fun.
And they'll toss out your handle, like, in a confused tone, like, just questioning it.
What would I know? Like, we say pirate, like, is this someone who, like, would I have any passing familiarity just because?
Yes, you would have passing familiarity with Nausicaans, or at least their general stigmatism around culture, much like Orions are, viewed as syndicate workers or pirates or something. Nausicaans are viewed very much the same.
Okay.
But if they're here on Deep Space Nine and there doesn't seem to be any like notable Starfleet presence or Bajoran security or anything like that, they're probably legitimate. They've kind of decided like, well, I'm gonna face the stigmatism anyway, so I might as well just decide that for them before they can decide it for me.
What a mood, though. I think that's something Kavai can also relate to in a way. But whereas they normally shove down their feelings of that,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of like respect. Like, I wish I could be so bold. How much of their like general presentation like matches up with what I was expecting, if any?
Not really who you were expecting at all.
In a good way or a bad way, if that makes sense.
Mostly good, but I would say it falls more under the neutral state, only because you haven't seen any, like, files or pictures of them, so it's just been over, quotations online, so.
Okay. Well, I think that does put a smile on Kavai's face because, as they always do, they will get the information of like anyone's like personal taste in media, however they can come across it. And I feel like we would have some like stupid like cartoon in common.
Yeah.
And I think she will pull out from like one of her back pockets like a like essentially like a flash drive, but like really really old, like that's been around since like it should be destroyed. There's like, but it's in pristine condition, and she will pass it over as like her form of payment for the meeting. It has all 5 seasons, 3 movies, and 2 unreleased OVAs. You're welcome.
Well,
Nerd.
certainly you deliver on your promises and then some. So,
I may or may not have also gotten you director's commentary.
well, I suppose then some of this information can be for free.
Well, darling, you've made my day. Worth the trip, in fact.
What do you want to know?
Anything you can spare. I am getting quite sick of this woman making some of my friends miserable. And like her expression is about as dark as anyone has ever seen it, but her mood is still light. She is managing to control the bleed of what she gives off a lot better than she has been able to. It's still difficult.
Okay.
But at least for the sake of other people, less off-putting.
Yeah. Well, do we want service records or do we want something more personal?
Oh, the more personal, the better.
Well then.
They will take another polite sip of their drink.
He'll fish around and bring up a data pad. And this is... You have no idea how he accessed this. But this is what is known a lot in Starfleet as a black file, which is just it is a mission that has deemed does not exist.
Oh, the sort of shit that only Jaloran can get into.
Jaloran is very skilled. That does not mean she is the only person in the galaxy that has that skill.
Yep. And
Well, I'm
very
talking
likely-
like that
I'm
sort of
guessing
like,
it's-
wavelength.
I'm guessing it's very likely this is a file she already has.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just one that you haven't shared because
Reasons.
compartmentalization is very important in intelligence, and the more people that know, the more it gets leaked. This particular black file is has to do with a particular Starfleet operation that is listed, but the details are not declared. Which is Operation Nightfall. You don't know anything about that. There's no mention of what that mission is. However, the mission was deemed Nightfall was deemed as a catastrophic disaster. But more importantly, on like the groups that signed off on this was a Captain Mihill.
Okay, so definitely far enough back where it would be the type of information that's valuable to me right now.
Yes. Part of that operation, you don't get details of Operation Nightfall. However, you do get information about an Operation Twin Sword, which is kind of similar.
What was it?
Twin Swords, which is
Okay.
and reading through it, and obviously some of it is full on, like, blacked out. You can't access it. But from what you can get, and some of the areas that have been freed up from that black space, is that mission, whatever Operation Nightfall was, and whatever its failure was still dependent on its success. However, to give that mission the highest rate of success, there had to be a small fleet to pull away as much attention as possible. That small fleet was a reserve fleet mostly. And as we know, in the Dominion War, a lot of young ensigns and even cadets got pulled into that mess. The reserve fleet mostly consisted of Lieutenant Junior grades with some commanders with less than stellar records, as well as about 516 cadets amongst 7 ships.
So, folks willing or potentially willing to bend rules with people who wouldn't know better.
Correct. They wouldn't know better. And on top of that, you do list the casualty report that was listed as which is listed as a tragic tactical error. The casualty report lists among 7 ships, one of which was a Galaxy class. Casualty reports list about 8,200, a little over it. Every member that was lost was given, respect and commendation of service and all of that, but looking at it, you can kind of see it's like the Starfleet of then was kind of just covering their own ass.
And not even particularly well.
I mean, not necessarily, but this file was locked away too.
True.
Yeah, it was pretty darn buried.
Hmm.
But 8,200 lost is
It's not
a lot to
insignificant.
cover up. Yeah.
Tactical
Jesus,
error,
what did
my
you do?
ass.
Yeah.
And also keep in mind a Galaxy class, which generally held, a crew complement of about 1,200. And you also see another vessel there that, while it was starting to go out of service, is not a pushover vessel. You definitely see also a Nebula class and and a couple of Excelsior classes. Vessels that are not pushovers. So things to go this catastrophically wrong, there's way more to this than meets the eye. Like, you could dig a lot deeper, but I will let you know right now that further you dig deep into this, you are literally going into the realm of, like, conspiracy, and that has its own risks.
You're also going to flag Jaloran's attention.
We are pretty removed over here.
They kind of, the Nelson kind of, like, sees the gears turning in your brain. I just got you the file. I'm not gonna be part of.
Oh, they kind of like look up and there's like kind of like as if surprised that they're still here. Like, oh yeah, no problem, thank you. Fascinating stuff. Have fun with season 2 especially.
That's a meta joke. But
Oh, that's a good one.
Unintentional, but I'll take it.
Word to the dude.
but as kind of like gets up and leaves, Lieutenant Taeth has been sitting here just sipping, like, enraptured by this whole thing.
Kabias just like does not care. They are aware that they look like a nut job.
So, what is that?
They will have hidden the actual file and not like exposed too much. And they actually also probably came prepared. They will pull out, having put the original away, they'll be look back over and be like, oh, we trade, and they will pull out a pad that has like a copy of the cartoons that she sent along with them. We trade in a lot of archaic media, and I think you would actually appreciate some of these as well. Hang on, I have an extra. And they will slide over an extra pad to their new friend.
You are going to give me a presence and command roll. This is going to be a difficulty of 3, because she's not stupid.
Yeah. Kavai's general attitude of their ability to slip their own focus and attention. It's like, let's put the neurodivergence to work. Let's see. It has been so long since we played. Remind me again what you want from me.
Presence command.
Presence. Go. Okay.
You have to roll underneath your number.
Yeah.
Or at your number.
It's fair. Well, fuck me.
You rolled 2d20, by the way.
Oh, right. It's been so long since we fucking played it.
Yeah.
Come on, other die. Be good. No, neither of them were. Fuck you. No. Not even remotely.
Okay. She kind of, like, makes a face. I appreciate the offer, but these pips, they exist for a reason. I might be a historical analyst, but
Well, it's worth a shot.
it teaches me to be observant, and I did see blacked out lines.
Also,
Yeah.
an anime hentai with tentacles.
Oh my god.
That has to work. That's
Little is
very
the-
culturally significant.
Little, this is the third time you nearly broke me. It's only been an hour. Stop. Slow down. It's the first episode. of
3 more
second half.
hours to go.
Ah!
You should have been prepared.
That's true. It's a skill issue on my part. I apologize.
But Jesus. Yeah, she kind of makes a face like, I saw blacked out lines. I know what that is.
Kavai will literally just shrug.
Starfleet historical records.
Can't try to fix stuff unless you know where stuff came from.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I was pulling old, part of the historical job I was doing is pulling records of logs throughout Deep Space Nine's history that have been locked behind codes or accidentally deleted or things like that.
How about a trade, then?
You have my interest.
I know my way around a computer. Maybe I could help you find some stuff that got lost.
Well, I wouldn't be opposed to that. And then, in exchange for that trade, if you help me, what do you want from me to help you with?
I think they're genuine, like, just strange immediate, like, I like this person. Like, they completely allow themselves to forget about what they were even about to be in trouble over. And she will literally just say, nothing at all, actually. Whatever you feel is fair.
Well, there are a lot of old firewalls that Starfleet Records wants from Captain Sisko's old quarters, so if you could help me access some of those, then we don't know much about, like, Captain Sisko's final years or so, so we're trying to piece together to create a holographic... I don't know what they're doing with it. I'm just grabbing stuff.
Kavai's just like, so excited. I got my information, and I get to break into shit! I'm not in trouble, this is a win.
Don't tell.
She said none of that. That is
Yeah,
just
yeah, I
the
know.
general, like, wafting vibe of, like, oh, I'm having fun now.
But she is bursting with enthusiasm. They are bursting
Yes.
with enthusiasm.
We just have to be
Exactly.
careful, because I technically still don't have the permission from Colonel Reese, Colonel Kira, so...
I think Kavai actually will, like, very uncharacteristically, kind of, like, loop their arm, and, like, start heading off in the direction of where they need for this.
Mhm.
And they more or less, like, will get, like, background radiation of, like, the truth. Still heavily filtered, but they will get the vibe. It is the quickest way that Kavai knows to earn trust, despite it making them uncomfortable.
Yeah. They do feel
Oh wow, there's the character growth.
you do find a little bit of like those emotions wafting off of you. And while you did get like a little bit of things off of them earlier, what's really strange about this is there is no emotional feedback this time. It's like it's just empty.
Real progress! Cool. Still not where she wants to be, but they will take it. That is even harder to admit that.
As you head to perhaps commit a minor form of being
Don't worry about it.
And espionage.
a scout vessel drops out of warp into a high orbit above Trill and begins its descent. Trill is comparative to Earth isn't much different. The only difference is it's significantly larger, if I remember correctly. I think it's about 3 times as large. You descend, Jaloran, you remember sort of the areas, and there are pools that you kind of have gotten Tate to help, like, found. You have contacts, but the pools you've been guided to are not the typical ones. They are much more secluded, and they are within the sort of central hemisphere area where it's much more tropical.
At the moment, she's just a bit. While she's taking in the area, she's still very focused on making sure they get to their landing area safely. She's experienced as a pilot. She knows her ship well, but she's nowhere near Tate's level of expertise. So she does need to focus a little bit on what she's doing.
There is one like direction, like this is one of those things where it's like it's a little annoying for you because you do have your firewalls, but as you know, Trill is very well accommodating in science and advancements of like that. And you do see like a command blip onto your computer that lets you know like the flight path. Like it downloads a flight path that you can take, and one of the flight paths that it's showing you is directly into a mountain.
She audibly growls at it. Delightful. And she does what she can to like do she makes some quick scans to see if there's happens to be like a if there's a pathway that is just not showing up on her screen, or if she needs to ask it to recalibrate.
You do both of those things, and it really does just translate to fly into the mountain.
Tate will come up and be like, "Need me to take over, Commander?" And I'll look at the flight plan.
Yeah, you come up just as you hear her growling at it again.
Tate's from Trill. Tate has lived on Trill. Does Tate know what's going on? Is it a translation error?
It is not a translation error. It is just basically drive straight.
No offense, Commander, but I think I should try this one, just in case weird things happen.
She nods and gestures. There is 2 spots in the cockpit, so she gestures to the open spot.
Tail sit down. There's a slight tremor to their hands. They clench their fists real quickly, and then release and relax, and the tremor's gone for right now. And Tate takes to the cockpit, like adapts to your system very easily. Like this is stuff that they've done, and
if you think I'm not making you do a control con roll, you are hilarious.
Oh no, I figured you'd make me do that. That's right.
And this is going to be with a difficulty of 4 under your present circumstances, and I will be spending 3 threat.
3 threat?
Yep.
Okay. Being nice to me today. Please don't hurt me. I'm kidding, Joe. Don't hurt me.
The hurting comes later.
You weren't actually looking at me, but it felt like you were looking at me.
I was looking at your character sheet. That counts.
Yeah. All right. See here. We don't have any momentum because we haven't done any rolls. So let's just see what I got. I'm assuming my piloting focus comes into play.
It will, yes.
Is it? You said difficulty 3. Difficulty 3 or difficulty 4?
4.
4. And it's a control, so that, and then my control thing does that thing. So my complication range is 15. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, Joe, I got a 2 and a 5.
Would Jaloran be assisting in this case as well? Since it's like she's right there.
Yeah, I would say this is.
Oh yeah, that's 3 successes. I failed this. That's 3 successes, 2 and a 5. That was a 4 difficulty.
Well, if Jaloran assists rolling that 1d20, that assistance is gonna probably be presence and command, I would say, because you have to keep Tate calm, because Tate is not in the best state.
Yeah. That's a success from her.
Okay. Just barely. You do circle a couple of times, like, where the fuck is this? And then, again, it just translates into drive into the mountains. Like, okay. And as you coast, the mountain just kind of holographic environment just breaks as you pass through it.
Prompts some muttered, barely audible cursing from Jaloran as, like, should have known.
The interior, with the holographic camouflage being on the outside, is probably a small city's worth of community, vessels, markets, and all of these other things. Definitely tall spires and things like that. And then off there seems to be kind of like almost like a shrine-like temple area that's up and off and out of the way, and that's probably where you're landing.
Yeah, it's definitely not Tate's best work. They're like, it's like by most people's standards, it's pretty good, but for someone like Tate, it lacks the smoothness that Tate normally has in their flying. It lacks the ease. You can tell Tate's actually trying because like they don't have all their focus and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And something Jaloran would notice that nobody else really would.
Mira might notice too if she's up here, but like anyone who's worked with Tate for a while and has been in a ship when Tate's doing something ridiculous and crazy knows that the Tate's really not at their best right now. They're good for most people, but not for Tate.
Yeah. Very shortly after, the three of you are given permission to disembark, and you are greeted by people who definitely know the pools. One is kind of this older-looking Trill woman, probably, it's hard to say, because trill biology is weird in many cases, and, generously abnormal, and then fucking strange as shit, even further than that. But it is an old woman who's probably, and you don't necessarily know the age, but you could swear this woman is pushing 300. Um, she kind of hobbles with sort of like this twisted, gnarled, cane, walking up. So this is who we've been told to expect. Apologies for diverting your path to a different sanctuary, but we figured, given your situation, something more secluded than normal would be beneficial.
Your consideration is greatly appreciated, Elder.
Well, I suppose there's no time like the present, or the past, depending on what you see.
Jaloran.
Follow.
Yeah, Jaloran nods.
Yeah, Tate needs Mira to steady them for a moment before they can like walk under their own power. So, like, Tate will lean on Mira for a minute because Mira can take it.
The
but
elder
yeah,
would notice that immediately.
Yeah, because flying took more out of them than they thought. I'm gonna rule that as part of my failure. That it took more out the actual flying and the focus it needed took more out of them than they thought it would.
So, you, I'm guessing you're the physician, you're the patient, and you're the observer.
You would be correct, Elder.
Well then, I suppose we shall get this started, but just so you are aware, Commander, in this capacity, your uniform means absolutely nothing.
She just kind of gestures to what she's wearing. It's like at some point during the trip, she has changed into more civilian clothing to like basically reinforce what the elder was saying. It's like she's not in uniform. This is strictly civilian.
Well then, 3 of you follow me up, and or maybe this one can carry you. She seems like she has the strength to do it.
I'll be able to make it.
I mean, I wouldn't mind having people carry me around, so...
I love this movie.
I love this one, too. Tate, Tate does not, is just like, oh, I'll be able to make it. Tate's really trying hard to hold on to what they think is their dignity. It's just a little bit of misplaced pride.
Never.
Right, well... And they lead you up, and it does get to a point, because it is a lot of, like, stone walkways and stuff like that. It's very ceremonial, and it does have, like, it's all access, but it is, like, one of those ceremonial type of walks. It's a challenge, but you do get up there eventually, and the elder kind of points to this small, like, building where there are a couple of trill guards, it almost looks like. Understandably, weapons and communicators are not permitted beyond these premises.
I didn't bring mine.
And Jaloran is clearly not carrying anything either.
Well then. Shall we begin?
The sooner the better.
The interior of this sort of cave where all the pools are different from the ones that you've grown up to know, Tate. The pools generally in more proper areas of Trill are generally kind of caves with pools in here. This is like its own underground oasis almost. There's sort of like these hanging moss, these glowing fluorescent fungi, and little bits of almost orange pollen that look like speckled starlight, and this slight trickling of like small waterfalls pouring into different pools.
Fungi, how fun can those guys be?
No offense, Lil, but you've done much better than that, Little.
What? Do you want me to joke about penises again?
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm good. Fair enough. Fair enough.
We'll stick with some fun guys.
I can be on my A game.
Well,
Unfortunately, my status got deleted, but I had a status that specifically stated that I'm constantly horny.
I did see that.
Jesus.
Wow.
I did see that.
Anyways, moving
Exactly.
on. These pools are also well, you never expect the pools to be this clear color. It is generally it's sort of a milky cut type of color, but this is almost like the pure reflective surface of like silver nitrate.
Gotcha.
The elder kind of just stands there at the rock and regards you, Tate. But I'm not getting in there with you.
Okay.
Jaloran is.
Yeah. Tate's gonna strip down to like a sports bra and like swim trunks,
Mhm.
because they knew where they were coming from, where they're coming here for, and they just looked at Jaloran.
What they're coming here for.
Ah,
Well, they've got it.
Is that good enough for you, Slade?
okay. I asked
Is
for it
that-
and I received it. I asked for it and I received it. I can't be mad. I can't be mad.
Anyways.
Touche, Little.
Yeah, Jaloran moves over to the hook and pulls off one of the typical robes that they wear. She passes one over to Tate, and then changes into one of her own. And they're like these long, shapeless white
Yeah.
overrobes,
Mm.
but very lightweight fabric.
The one thing you must keep in mind with this particular pool, once you submerge yourself, when you inhale, don't panic.
Quick question. I'm sorry, I probably missed a bit of things. My internet was not cooperating. Mira is with them,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're with us. Yeah, you're with us.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're
Okay.
just not going into
Before, yeah, you're just not going in the pool
Wait, why?
unless you want to. But Jaloran
Yes, I
planned to
do.
go. Tate has to. Jaloran planned to submerge. And I guess the only thing that Jaloran was expecting Mira to do was to stay on the sidelines. She would have pointed out the emergency med kit on their way leaving the shuttle, so that Mira could grab that in case of any emergencies.
Yeah, you're there to monitor vitals, basically.
Essentially.
Like special mind pools. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are. I
Yeah.
thought we were going for a swim. All right then.
It's sort of a swim. It's just not.
With
Just
lots
a
of
swim.
parasites, but yeah, okay.
It's
It's a swim, just not just a swim.
it's a swim
Yeah.
with some trauma for flavor.
Cool.
It's the best
Cool.
kind.
Cool. 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 Alright, yeah. Gonna be sitting on the sidelines then, sorry.
Yeah, and Jalord would feel more comfortable having somebody like not in the middle of trauma observing and making sure they're okay.
Mhm.
Jaloran turn into Mira, you're the healthiest person here mentally. I would like you to
In a weird way, yes, and that is also it's hilarious and also deeply concerning for me.
For you, imagine how Jalord feels right now.
You're the
Maybe
most
submerged. You don't get
destructive
an
person
opinion right now.
in that team. I have no mental problems.
Yeah, but as you kind of enter into this pool, and submerge and take that guidance of inhaling, it's almost like inhaling.
Water.
It's not like inhaling water. It's more like inhaling really, really humid air.
I mean, same thing, but
Okay, are we gonna get this fucking technical?
look, I'm California. We don't have water in the air.
I'm from Indiana. We do.
There are 14,000 lakes in Minnesota, so
Woof.
Yeah,
I'm in
we've got all
Russia. We
kinds of.
inhale snow.
Yeah, we got the clay soil that loves to emit all the water every summer.
yeah. But yeah, as that happens, Tate, you are the first to kind of roll backwards into your mind and are walking the halls of a vessel. It looks like it belongs to the Federation, but you don't remember this. You know you should, but you eventually stumble into and you see this is old. You see the sort of darker tone of the Starfleet uniform that's much more attributed to the late 2240s. So that dark blue with either that bronze, gold, or silver.
So just to clarify, this is before like Kadan's time or even
Yes,
Tate's
this
mother's
is-
time.
Yes, this is way before that.
Okay, just making sure.
As you kind of walk and turn the corner and run into a trill, actually, very flowy type of showman type of gown. Seems to have some sort of ambassadorial or like VIP status, and as you walk in the halls, no one seems to notice you, Tate, but this woman seems to know you quite well, almost, and you seem to know them a little bit. She kind of looks you up and down. Really?
What?
Well, I guess we could have done worse. Well, do you know who I am, or do you need a swift kick to get that going?
I should know who you are.
Right, right.
I feel like I've known you my entire life, and yet I know I've never seen you.
Right, you did that stupid shit aboard the Archimedes. So, I'm your second life.
And I think you're reasonably pissed off at me.
Oh, just a little bit, but that's not the whole reason I'm mad. Why don't we walk around the ship? Bring your friend, too. And you kind of notice that Lauren is here as well. It's a little confusing.
Lauren's here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd just look at
She
Lauren.
seemed, yeah, she seems to be perfectly at ease. I think she was totally expecting this.
Do you know this vessel at all, Tate? Or is this something that's... Well, you should know this vessel. It's a famous vessel.
Does Tate know this vessel?
You can do a... This is going to be an insight and security roll, because that's kind of how you're going to determine everything here. It's going to be a difficulty of 2.
Question. Since I'm trying to identify a ship, can I use my piloting focus?
Yes.
Or is that a stretch? Okay, no, cool.
Well, if you're going to be a pilot, you got to know your ships.
I got 2 exactly.
2 exactly. The architecture is old. It is a Constitution class vessel. And, well, it is not the USS Enterprise. It is a vessel that is notably equally famous for different reasons. Particularly for its, probably at its present time, its first officer, which would then be the captain of, the captain and the acting flagship of the Battle of the Binary Stars. You're aboard the USS Defiant, NCC 1764.
I'd say from the halls, I'd say we're a Constitution class. The years Defiant, USS Defiant.
You do remember.
I don't. I'm just very good with ships.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. Okay. Well, we got our work cut out for us then.
You have no idea.
We'll get to you too. You're a whole different case, and you're weird, so I'll let one of the other ones deal with you.
She just kind of shrugs at that as if she already knew what she was going to say.
Anyways, you were here, or I was here, or we were here. We'll use the term we. We were here being escorted to a Andorian opera house for a performance, and the Defiant was so kind to give us a lift, mainly because Lieutenant Commander Giorgio was very, very accommodating and really nice. We had really good talks. About culture, mostly. Is that something you feel like you're lacking right now, Tate? Connection to culture?
Well, I haven't been on Trill since I was about 7. My mom took us away. Took us away from Dad. I don't remember why they separated, but my dad should be here, but I haven't been back here since I was 7, so about 20 years, and Mom doesn't really talk about Trill culture that much. Like she wanted me to be the host, but a host. She never, and she kind of explained what that means, but I always got the impression that it was more of a status symbol to her than anything else.
Okay, well, you're amongst a lot of views and a lot of, well, past lives, so as we're walking down the halls of this fine piece of Starfleet design and Federation innovation, although it does go on the surface rather quickly because, of course, it would. What about you?
Jaloran
No, continue.
Jaloran pipes up at that moment. He's like, just so you're aware, there are significant gaps in training for Tate.
Oh, I'm aware. But
not just culture.
oh, we'll get to that. But first of
I
all,
think this is sort of a one step at a time kind of thing.
sort of, but also I'll be pushing you down a hill at some point.
You wouldn't be me if you weren't.
Well, I'm not you. You're more me than I am you.
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
Yeah, it goes forward. It can't go backwards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Anyways, going on the whole drill thing and your mother and stuff, and that's what you wanted. Is that ever what you wanted?
Tate kind of pauses at that, sort of just look up and sort of thinks for a minute. Did they? And they're like, did they ever really want this? And the only answer they could come up with is, I just wanted to make my mom proud of me.
Okay, we got to do
Which is
something.
totally a good reason to do anything.
I never said Tate was healthy emotionally.
I love them. It's okay.
I mean, they are specifically there because they're emotionally unhealthy. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, let's
look at the
continue.
rest of us. Sorry.
Yeah.
They're in the magical mental spot. I think that's emotional healthy as it gets.
And I think from this point on, Peanut Gallery should be on mute.
Sorry.
It's good. But is that what you wanted?
Well, to answer your question, because I feel you're going to get annoyed at me if I keep dancing around the subject. No, it wasn't what I wanted.
What did you want, Tate?
Tate looks genuinely confused a little bit, like confused, kind of like I don't. They're sort of stuttering a little bit, and they know the answer. They know what they want to say, but they don't want to say it because that would make this whole thing real. But they're looking their past self in the eye, and they've been lying to themselves for so long, but they can't lie to an older version of themselves, if that makes sense. They've been lying to Tate, but they can't lie to this version of them.
Yep.
And they're like, I didn't think I was allowed to want things.
Oh, wow. Okay. This one's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, so I think it's curtain calls for me, and they'll kind of almost tear at this fabric of this dreamlike reality, and you're on the streets of a pretty proactive, looks like, planet. You're not entirely sure, but it looks like there's a lot of activism going around, and there is a taller, trill individual, somewhat feminesque figure, definitely more of a sort of like punk style aesthetic to them, as they kind of are sitting against like a wall and a couple of fallen bricks and crates. Come on. Really? She couldn't have started with the other. Okay. Not allowed to want things. That's where she's starting me.
It could have been worse.
It could have been. It's not much better.
Yes, we are between a rock and a hard place, aren't we?
Yeah, quite literally. This is one of those places.
You look like someone my mother would dislike.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, I got the feeling that you would.
I love them immediately.
Mm-hmm. Tate sort of. I think Tate. This is, if I forgive me wrong, this is a closer life to Tate than
Yes,
the
this is
previous one, right?
closer.
Yeah, yeah. I think I know who it is. I just can't remember the name.
Oh, I'm
Off
not gonna tell you names. You're just gonna have to use the context clues I give you.
No, I mean I know who. I just don't remember the names right now
Yeah, that's fine.
because I'm nervous. Tate, but yeah, Tate just looks at them and it's just like I I kind of like you more.
But that's a good sign. Means you're not wholly hopeless, and you have a bit of a rebellious streak in you. Definitely keep
Eh,
that.
yeah, I think the only rebellion I could do at the time was learn to pilot like a crazy person.
Okay, well I did that too. Mostly.
Yeah, but you're not as good as me. I'm just gonna say that.
Well,
He does have a point.
That's true.
what if it was perhaps what if the scales were tipped and it was an even playing field? Then you don't know, do you?
No, I don't.
But that's not what we're really here to talk about and measuring our abilities to polish our
No,
craft.
we're not.
I'm much more daring than you are, by the way. But your whole problem is you just.
I get the feeling I'm very repressed.
Oh, well, you came to that answer all on your own. I was about to go a whole spiel and really use works of graffiti art, but if that works for you and you just came out and say it, you've saved me a lot of time.
Happy to do so.
Are you?
And that puts Tate in a thinking spiral again. Because Tate has always been happy to make less problems for people and make people have to and make people not have to waste their time, or quote unquote waste their time on them. And they're just sit there's and they're like they thought they were being accommodating. They thought they were being helpful by not being a problem, by not wanting people to spend too much time on them because there are other people who need help. I clearly don't need help.
Mhm.
I've never needed help, and I think I I don't know if Jaloran picks up on that thought. You can say if you do or not, Lynn. But I think my past life definitely picks up on that thought of like of the not wanting to be a problem to people.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
There's a very soft, almost you're not sure if it's audible, but you definitely hear it from Jaloran. Being accommodating is not the same as being happy.
I just never wanted to be an issue for people.
Sure you did. Of course you did. I mean, I was an issue for people all the time.
If you are who I think you are, then I don't have your name yet, but I'm getting it, and
You'll get it eventually, and
yeah,
when you do get it, pick up a history book and look me up.
I'll be sure to do that.
But
I particularly enjoyed the graffiti art. It was very passionate.
yeah, well, as nice as that was, we're gonna do a little divert and explore a little bit why you're here, because you have your own reasons for being here, and it's not just Tate.
Yeah. I know.
So, I know enough of Tate to know how to help them, though I have to have them kind of come up with their own answers. You're kind of a passenger. I don't know what the fuck you're thinking. So, you're gonna have to be direct. The silence is resounding.
She's never been direct since I've known her.
I don't mind open doors, though, as, like, one suddenly appears. But some of what I'm dealing with has to do with fixing things that somebody else broke. She quirks an eyebrow at Tate.
Tate doesn't know what you're talking about. I do, because I made the decision. But Tate doesn't understand that they did that.
Well, I don't really know how to help you with that one, other than perhaps add some friendly advice. I wasn't alone in my life. I had a lot of friends. A lot of people I could be open about and let myself be vulnerable. I know you have that sort of you stand like Starfleet, so I'm going to assume you're Starfleet.
Very Starfleet.
Mm,
But not all Starfleet.
no, but have you considered maybe not standing so rigidly all the time?
Working on it.
Yep, can't do much more for you there. Alright, so... yeah, I was a problem for everyone. That's fine. That's who I was. And... accommodating is kind of... to be perfectly honest, accommodating everyone's boring. And it's infuriating.
Tate, when they say infuriating, like accommodating people is infuriating, that doesn't compute to Tate quite, because Tate doesn't think they were ever angry having to accommodate people. Like just not they don't think that they were ever annoyed or angry at like just being like, oh no, I don't need anything, or like just helping people out, or doing what, or just like being a good soldier, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, and they will immediately identify, like, hone it, no pun intended, hone in on that. But kind of quirk through head. That never made you upset, that the fact that every decision is really not your decision? You are part of Starfleet, which does a great job of trying to make sure that many species and worlds have the ability to speak out and be non-oppressed. So I find it a direct sort of irony that Starfleet is the very thing that seems to be oppressing you as a person.
In this case, I don't think it was Starfleet that started that.
Starfleet has a lot of protocols, or at least when I was around, to identify problem individuals such as Admiral Mahil. So
my mom's not a problem, and that, and you can tell, and this one in particular can tell that Tate's just doing that out of reflex and doesn't actually think it. It's reflex to defend their mother.
Well,
Jaloran immediately shoots a like, see what I mean? Look at the past self.
well,
Starfleet.
I can
She
do.
goes on to say, like to kind of clarify what she was saying. It's like Starfleet reinforced what somebody started.
Right. But there are safeguards, or there should be, for problems like
They're
this.
supposed to be, yeah.
Well,
I mean, you're saying my mom's. That's just how my mom is. I don't understand. Do people not and like do people not act in like command at that? And Tate cannot finish the sentence. Tate is like coming to a realization that their mom is not the norm, and it's just
well,
like very confused.
well, I broke him. I'm gonna have to get the they'll let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get someone to help who's a little less nicer than I am. I hope you like grunge. And they'll kind of like shake almost a spray can and just spray it in your face, and the two of you are just almost whisked away into this old, rickety, shitty looking like engineering station. There is a Trill who is actually fairly young, a little older than Tate, but not by much. Okay. And they seem to be like shouting commands at people, and they seem to be a little annoyed, but listening. And then their shoulders kind of slump, almost like depressive, like. Oh, I was really hoping to avoid talking to anyone. I was hoping the others could do it.
You're Maz, and like Tate that instantly comes to Tate. You're Maz.
There we go. We got one finally.
You're Maz.
Yeah. Yeah, my
They're
personality
good.
gave it away.
No, well, kind of, but also your looks. You were one of the engineers behind one of my favorite ships.
Really then? Oh,
Yeah,
that's great and all. But
but I also like knew it before I knew you were that. Before I knew you were, it's like I knew who you were, but I also it's like it just came to me, like not just that. It's I can't explain it. I'm sorry.
I can symbiote.
Symbiote, yeah.
All right, so you have this weird compulsive need to reflexively defend a problemed Starfleet officer, which is interesting considering a lot of your problems have stemmed from her. So strange
I thought
choice.
I thought my problems extend from I wasn't properly trained, and Kadan chose me for some reason I don't
Oh,
know.
that's part of it. The other part of it was Kadan chose you because you were one of very few Trill aboard that could actually survive such a process.
Did Kadan know about my modifications?
Well,
Because
did
you just
hmm.
because you just said something. I'm the one people who survive it. Few that can survive it. So did did like we're all connected. Well, we're supposed to be connected. We will be connected.
No, we
But
are connected. We're talking right now.
that's true. Sorry. Um, uh, did Tate's gonna try to call on Kadan's knowledge now and see if Kadan actually knew.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this.
Or maybe like summon Kadan or something.
Not gonna make you roll for this. This is the first time it's very confusing because now there are two former hosts in the same space because Kadan is here. Kadan was definitely a younger Trill as well, but very insightful. A little off the books type. Okay, this is promising. Is it? Is it promising? Because you're here in my space. Sure, Miles. Great. Yeah, I knew.
Sir, you knew?
I wouldn't. How often did I had you be a helm officer as a very fresh ensign.
There have been other fresh ensign helm officers.
Yeah, but no one's ever flown into a particularly plasma charged asteroid field as their first tour. So
Did did you figure it out, or did
I was
someone
testing
tell
the
you?
theory first, and then I figured it out after we didn't die. You did what? You knew. I don't have to like it.
Now you know how I feel.
So you chose me. You chose me because I beat you. I I don't understand I thought my modifications were just my reflexes. Like how would that help me survive the process? And like the process isn't that the deer and the name comes to to Tate's mind real quickly. The deer perfected that process. I mean, we perfected that process. It shouldn't. It's not a dangerous process.
It is under high stress situations, and when you have adrenaline working in your favor versus not your favor in terms of a crisis situation, particularly where you know, a
Died.
calmer state of mind and more focus is less adrenaline. Less adrenaline causes less problems in a procedure like that.
Okay, I
So,
can.
to answer a prior question, it was more than just your reflexes that were modified. Which immediately clues in Tate to the fact that Jalora knows more.
Tate's gonna take that and not gonna focus on that for a moment. It's just gonna look at Kadan and I'm not. Why did you allow me to? Genetically modified people aren't allowed in Starfleet. That's the rules. Why did you? Why did you let me? Well, like, why did you let me do that? You would have been risking your own career.
There are a lot of reasons why I did what I did, but I figured the most reasonable excuse that I could come up with is it's my fucking ship and my rules.
Yeah, that sounds like you.
And
Um,
also, we've had individuals who had genetic modification and there were exceptions made. And that was under the purview of either a Starfleet board or a Starfleet captain. I was a captain at the time. I got to make the decision. Any decision that negatively would come back would affect me and not you. You were fresh out of the academy. You got high marks. And I didn't think it was fair for you to be stonewalled because of a familial decision that you had no part in.
so did you? So did you know? Did you have an expectation, even like a suspicion, even before I was in the academy? Like, what were you just looking for for Trill who could potentially join Hone in case you got killed or something?
No, not at all. I was looking for pilots for a vessel that was experimental at the time.
We were an experimental vessel, and then Tate, like, why don't I remember that?
We were part of an experimental vessel called a Hera class, which was Slightly like a Prometheus class, so just a little smaller and less ostentatious. I found you not through modifications or anything, but because of academy scores and because of piloting record in the academy. High marks. And that had nothing to do with just piloting itself. It was cognitive decisions and problem solving.
Why didn't my mother like you? Because I can't read. My mom's hard to read, but I could tell she didn't like you.
uh,
Did you? Is there a memory I haven't seen yet, or did you? Or
no. Well,
did she just not like you
there's a
because?
memory you haven't seen yet, and I suspect once we get more connected, you'll have access to that. But given how your commander is tipping her heels in a slight little bit of glee, I think she has an idea as to what I might have done to make her not like me.
She's just grinning.
Tate is like, can someone clue me in, please? She didn't like. Did she not like you because you chose me?
That, and also I did threaten to expose her Starfleet medical malpractice.
So did I.
You blackmailed my mother, and she didn't kill you.
Oh, she probably could have tried, but, well,
She's not in a good position to follow through.
no.
My mom doesn't let that stuff go.
Oh, no,
Like
she
that,
didn't. She gave me some
yeah.
pretty shitty missions for the first couple of months, and then I got reassigned to a different admiral, so.
And I have my ways.
And Tate is just like, what happened on our last mission? That symbol. I know we recognize that symbol. You know the symbol I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
What happened? What happened? That was because what I remember is we took a big hit, like a real big hit, and somehow you went down, and the chief medical and you weren't getting back up, and Tate's struggling. They're obviously missing details, but they're getting the gist of it. You weren't getting back up easily. The chief medical officer grabbed me from the helm and said said you weren't going to survive long, and that we needed to do the procedure right away. We did it on the fucking bridge, and then I don't know what happened after that. I was told that I took command of the vessel. I got us out of there, but I have no idea what happened after that. I don't remember anything after until I was in med bay getting checked out after we landed. It was like apparently I lost days.
Well, stressful situations will do that. But,
Trauma does that too.
yeah. Yeah, you're a whole different case.
Don't I know it?
But, how about we revisit that and see what we can remember? Then Mars kind of speaks up. Great. Fantastic.
We are getting out of your space now, though.
Please do. I like my space, and it's really crowded here.
Bye, Maz.
Doesn't say anything.
I didn't expect them to.
However, outside of all of this, keeping an eye on everything, Lieutenant Loris, as you are keeping an eye on vitals and such, you actually, the Elder does come up to you, Lieutenant Loris. mind if I just sit here? I have old legs and this cane does so little for me. Little, you are muted if you're talking.
I'm not.
Okay, there you go. We did get a little bit of a problem, I think. Seeing as you're the only one upright, if you wouldn't mind following me for a second.
All right. What sort of problem are we talking? The she follows.
Sort of an issue. Well, it turns out we did a little bit of digging through your friend's records and the whole augmentation, and I have promise that your compatriots will be in good hands, but I'm too old. I don't run fast. I'm slow. I have a cane. I limp. I'm tiny. I will not move fast.
I can see that. Just explain me what's wrong.
We looked into the records, and what are the triggers for augmentation that seems to happen for your friend? Which you don't fully know about, but this troll woman doesn't care. She's just saying it. There was an incident of some trill individuals that were less than savory types that triggered that, and one of them got away. But we did find records within the city here that you could potentially access that might be useful for later down the line.
Okay, if we speak in less vague terms, what did you just say? As specifically as possible, are you trying to say that something is, or someone is trying to interfere, or someone is threatening to interfere with this? She kind of looks back over her shoulder. Whole situation. Are my
Someone might be trying to interfere.
Oh, great. Okay. All right. How do I fix that?
We have some sites of them in the city, kind of the underslum areas. You could catch them off guard.
Wait, are you saying that I have to leave them alone while I run around the city trying to find some vague people who are trying to interfere? How are they even doing that? They're nowhere near these pools.
Some believe that the symbiotes, they are... Well, the Trill generally with their symbiote, there is a form of symbiosis, but there is always the risk that this symbiote is the one that ends up being in control. There are very few and it is very rare, however, it has happened in the past. One of them recently escaped their facility, and I was only just now notified about it.
Okay. All right. I still don't fully understand this, but I suppose it can be explained by a bit later. For now, it's an urgent matter, correct?
It is an urgent matter, and they are very dangerous. They have taken lives, and as an elder, I give you full permission to use whatever force you deem necessary.
Well, I'm not going to. Anyway, all right. Could you please tell me what they look like?
Hand you their own little version of a data pad, and it does show like the approximate appearance and what they last looked like before they escaped.
Well, I haven't been doing this ever since I done duck collecting on the side. Well, let's give that a shot. So she kind of turns and kind of the troll lady is higher or shorter than her.
Okay, interesting description. She's definitely shorter.
Yeah. she kind of like leans forward so she would be face to face with her troll lady. I know you're helping me, I believe, but if anything happens to those two people in your pools, I will come back and I will break the oath that I gave.
Oh, I believe
You got it?
Oh no, I definitely believe you.
Good.
Use that energy on that one over there, though.
All right. One last thing. Could you tell me where specifically those symbiotes were last seen?
Well, we call them puppeteers, but the puppeter was last seen in District 5, and they point something up on the pad and show you. Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, our break was sure something.
You should expect this from us at this point, Joe.
I really should. It's my fault, but yes. As we continue on, as Lieutenant Loris heads to deal with an escaped prisoner, a Trill convict, if you will. The other end of this, far across the galaxy, at Deep Space Nine is
Oh shit.
the aftermath. Actually, I'm not gonna have you roll for this because it's not that secure anymore.
Dope.
As kind of go through this, and there was so many logs from the final years of the Dominion War that were accessed, and Lieutenant Esme Teeth is kind of looking surprised and quite satisfied with the result.
Man, I think she is backing her way out of the equivalent of a Jeffrey's tube. It's just okay, well, flick off whatever gunk might have accumulated. Well, I fixed that line, but you should have everything now. Maybe don't go down there for another 45 minutes. Need anything else? But
They're just.
I think you should have everything.
I mean, it is an old station. Stuff's gonna just build
Yeah,
up.
I think part of that's literally being held together by duct tape.
I don't know what that is, but I'll take your word for it. I thought this would be harder to access, but I suppose old mining stations and stuff like that just.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong, some of it was tricky, but I don't know. I like a good challenge.
Well, I know you said you didn't want anything in return, but I mean, offer's still here. I mean, I have a day before I have to head back to Earth, so.
Well. You wouldn't happen to know a lot of the other staff around here, particularly?
Not really well. Like I said, I mainly am stationed on Earth, so I don't come here very often.
Oh!
It's just kind of
Well, hell! Same!
Really?
Yeah!
I I assumed because holographic analyst, I figured you would be assigned to a vessel.
Nah. They got me out of oh shit, what's the town name? Madrid.
Madrid. Oh, Madrid. Okay. I didn't realize there was a operating base there, but I'm also
Eh,
stuck in an archive most of the time, so yay me.
right. I hardly ever get out myself. You would think I would learn the cities better, but eh. I think Kavai will sort of uh, not like not subtly, but they will just sort of like slip one of the extra little Tamagotchi things that they've been carrying around onto their person. And sort of just I might not need your help right now, but let's just say when you're back on Earth and I'm back there, because, this is only going to be a couple of days out here. Let's say you return him, and if he's still alive, then I'll see if I can get your assistance on some other stuff. I feel like you would be able to figure some stuff out that I'm not able to. Let's just put it that way.
Well, we'll find out, I suppose. Right, so I apologize. I'm really bad with this interpersonal thing. I'm not sure where to go from here.
All good. I'm not either. Bye! And she'll just leave, saving them both the trouble.
Yeah, no, that works.
This is how you make friends.
The chaos of Deep Space Nine is left to be a mystery. Mostly until it gathers the attention of Colonel Kira, in which case then it'll be less. But either way.
Jaloran's going to be getting a call soon, isn't she?
What? No.
Don't worry about it.
A call from an angry, somewhat annoyed Colonel Kira Nerys? What? That everyone look forward to a call like that.
I mean, technically, Kavai hasn't broken any laws yet.
And they also fixed some shit that was genuinely broken. And that is
also
not
gives,
their area of expertise.
It also gives Nerys an excuse to call her friend, so...
But either way, down in the city of Trill, or one of the cities, Lieutenant Loris, you are kind of scanning around, and you do, you're able to track this individual, and they're actually surprisingly not that hard to find, but it is one of those situations where a lot of these people are civilian. They're not going to go out of their way if it is going to be directly in conflict with their own personal well-being. This drill is a lot different, where the spots are much more prominent and almost like decorating their face, almost like a mask, as they kind of notice them almost. Oh, come on. Are you the one who's gonna stand in my way? Really?
I think Little's having technical difficulties.
Oh no. No, not again.
Curse you, technology!
We'll let them figure that out after the headphones have probably taken a heaping gulp of mead. That's probably what happened. Um,
So I guess we're going mine diving again.
yep, we'll go mine diving, and I guess that'll be something to look forward to. Uh, well, that happens. Well, little figures that out. Um, looking, and you are now on the bridge of this Hera class vessel, which looks. The bridge itself is very Intrepid-esque, though the difference being there are three positions for a captain, a first officer, and a consultant of some kind, counselor, whoever. As there is a feeling of getting absolutely jabbed by a torpedo or some sort of cosmic force. And though this is a mindscape, Jaloran, you were never here in reality, but you felt it. Like, you full felt it. Like, falling down, everything, you felt everything. That sort of, like, a Hydra-esque, almost, Ouroboros symbol is flashing, and you have... It just really is starting to grate on you. God, where... Same for you, Tate. Where have we seen this before? For you, Tate, you've seen it here. However, for Jaloran, you've seen it here now and in the Madrid field office, but the more you think on it, you just... It's like it exists in the background from your failed mission, or actually a couple years after your failed mission, all the way to now. It's like it's been in the background, like a subliminal message that just keeps popping up here and there. Doesn't seem anything significant. Or at least at the time it didn't. Shown up on, like, just as a stamp on a side of a pad or a marking or piece of art or something like that. But it keeps showing up. Don kind of leads you through this whole event. And you get to the point where that transfer happens. And Tate, it's almost like you're pulled from yourself and you're watching yourself now. As you have a similar, and this is a figure you don't recognize. It's clearly not any of your past lives. They are almost a direct, like, negative mirror of you. And you're kind of in this panic state as a young ensign, and this person is talking to you. I'm going to do something that is very taboo, and I need your permission.
You got it. Let's wherever we do, let's do it.
Alright. I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know if you'll keep these memories.
That's fine. It doesn't matter right now. We have to save the ship. We have to save our people. Save the people first.
Alright. And now you remember, Tate. This is why you can't... This is why you can't remember a lot of this. Because in this moment, this transfer, in this crisis, none of your lives were at the helm. This was full on the symbiote's doing. Symbiote pulled every knowledge from every life, and the symbiote was in full control. And you know enough about Trill history to know that is taboo beyond belief. You're also learning something about the Hone symbiote in this moment too, as there is two individuals you don't recognize. Past lives that are almost buried within the symbiote self-conscious. Most of the rest of it is very standard fare, guiding people out, taking command. Though it is your instincts that led them to survival, it was the symbiote that ultimately kind of completed that mission. So that's where your space and memories come from. And actually, Shaloran, that would make a lot of sense to you. It's always been something that is theorized that can happen in, like, Trill physiology, that the symbiote can take the full control.
Yeah,
Nothing on record. Like,
cross.
there's nothing in record. There's no way this would be on Starfleet or Federation record.
Yeah, and the cross between half guilty, half scowling look on her face is cluing others in that she suspected this was what happened.
Tate is just like, Tate is looking at us and just like, oh, okay. Like, Tate's not, funnily enough, Tate's not disturbed that Hone took over, because they let Hone take over.
Yes, but it is one of those things, though, where it is taboo. The only reason it's taboo is because the symbiote being in control is just... If the symbiote is in control, it's less symbiosis and more parasitic. And that makes it big ol', Trill cultural no-no.
It takes away the autonomy of the host.
Yeah.
Tate just goes, so Hone saved us. Well, thankfully, we all saved ourselves, but Hone is us, and we are Hone. But yeah, Hone saved us.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense why that wouldn't have occurred to any of us.
Right. And I suppose...
I imagine Kanan is the only one who recognizes the really guilty look on Lauren's face.
Oh, yeah. Kanan, though, was like, what in his final moments was dying, but he knew that was going to be the most likely outcome, because what other outcome was there going to be?
Yeah, Tate. Yeah, I think Tate didn't know what because Tate was just taken as an ensign and put in front of Don basically, and said we got to do the transfer, and Tate did it, and then this version of Hone showed up and took over because Tate didn't have the skills. Maybe they had the skills, but they didn't have the experience yet to deal with the situation. And then they took over.
They probably also just in the moment didn't know any better.
No, they didn't. Tate had no idea what was going on. Tate wasn't really trained for this, and Tate just saw someone who could offer them a solution to get out, to get their people out, to save their ship, to save their friends. Mm-hmm. And they took it.
This is probably a slightly rough memory to learn, but we're,
Honestly, it's actually kind of comforting.
well, I apologize, but we're about to leave the realm of comfort and. Right.
So we get to meet the other two?
Well, you've met. Well, actually, I think you'll be the most useful for this. There is a quick kind of almost like watercolors melting, and the scene changes to old Trill type of laboratory and stuff like that, and also almost like a mirrored version. Tate, like almost like a side by side picture, like a 3D scenery. You barely recognize it, but this was a home that you had on Trill, next to this other halfway window of reality with an older Trill that looks like they have been always been deep into their studies.
Dodir?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dodir. Yeah, Tate just says Dodir.
Well, we're not really here to talk about me as much as we are about to talk about you.
What do you mean?
How much of your childhood do you actually remember?
Um, Tate's first response is, I remember most of my childhood, like, and then Tate stops. And then Tate's like, I remember. I mean, isn't it normal to forget some of your childhood? You're the doctor.
Yes, but, well,
I don't re- I don't remember why we left Dad.
oh, that has to do with a particular event that you have blocked out, I would say.
Blocked out. Well, Mom never talked about Dad. I don't think she ever had his picture anywhere in the house. I asked, like, where's Dad? And she never really answered. She just said, don't ever mention him. Don't say anything. Don't talk about him. Don't mention his name. And then when Tate said that, they just like, I don't even remember his name.
Well, I suppose names aren't as important as the event in this case. You are looking through a window yourself, very young. Your mother, who looks like she may have just achieved the rank of Commodore, which is pretty impressive. You don't really remember the significance of that.
I must have been like 7 at this point.
Yeah, pretty young.
Yeah.
There's another Trill man, fairly nondescript, but can definitely identify your father, who is kind of showing up like a holographic models just to show you this is probably where your innate like love of ships comes, is just different vessels from Federation or non-Federation worlds, and you just kind of seem to really absorb into it.
I think we hear Tate herself going, just listing off, like he's quizzing them on the different types of vessels. Tate's like screwing up their little face, their little thing. They're like, that's a Constitution class.
Mm-hmm.
And like just going through different wrestled, and he's just like quizzing them. And you see a big smile on the dad's face when they get one right.
There is a conversation that your younger self wouldn't understand, but your father and mother are talking, and your father kind of, are you sure it's safe for you to be here for a couple days? It's with the unrest that's been happening lately, and there's some whispers that you weren't ever able to catch, and you're gathering that because the memory kind of just doesn't play it for you, but you do hear your mother kind of, Starfleet could offer assistance if you asked for it. This is a Trill matter, and you know how the Trill Science Committee and its militia forces are about outsiders. Even in the part of the Federation, there are just certain practices that should be quelled and dealt with by our own. They are a blight, and they are very dangerous. Let me handle it. And there's a little bit of a time skip here. River, like a small stream, forest, and something you will note, that you, it's weird to see your mother like this. She's not buried in her work. She seems genuinely just like a happy person. She really does.
This is not a look that I'm used to her having.
No. And you get to a darker portion of the memory where you are hiding. There is sounds of phaser fire and disruptor fire, which is very strange for Trill, because Trill doesn't have disruptors, or they shouldn't. You only see a portion of it. It looks like your father and your mother are at a standoff. You are behind your mother, hidden. Well, she has a disruptor, and your father is pointing a disruptor at her as well. But from what your young eyes can see, his eyes are very much empty. They do not belong to him anymore. You can hear her just trying to hold back tears, and then you remember hiding because you were scared, so you didn't hear it, but you saw it. And you know what the sound of a disruptor does at its highest setting. And then you just hear your mother break down. And then years begin to kind of flash before you. For a little bit, definitely becomes the mother you are used to. Well, the lie you were told is your parents were separated and that things just didn't work out and things like that. But you do remember saying something that was kind of negative swinging to your father, and your mother did get pretty mad at you for that. That was followed by some form of discipline. And you did sustain an injury doing that, and you remember the doctor, and you remember this talk being during that whole event. You presume you got it during that event. You got an injury, and there was a slight talk from a doctor or someone saying if they had a faster reaction time, it probably wouldn't have happened, and all of that, and just all of these things are lining up to the point now where your mother kind of pressures you into joining Starfleet and all of that, and all of these different things. And your mother suddenly becomes not a very complicated person at all. Not in this instance, at least. She is a mother who has lost a lot, fears for her child, and wears a very stern mask because if she does anything else, she will crack and break.
He was just trying to help me.
It's a very misguided sense, but along the way, she's probably convinced herself that everything she did was the right decision, even if it wasn't.
Um, I think Tate is got tears in their tears, like they're crying, but Tate just says, "I knew she loved me. I knew that. I knew she loved me." And Tate lets the tears fall because they don't have to put on a mask, not from Jalora, not from several versions of themselves, and maybe not from their mother anymore either. I just looked at the deer and say, "My dad was puppeted, wasn't he?"
Yeah, something like that. It's a very small faction within Trill, less than 1%, but less than 100%, but that's still enough to cause panic and extreme views.
I remember I told her, "Why isn't Dad here if he loved us?" I said that. I was like 10, and she got real mad. And she she screamed like real loud at me. I remember being a little scared of her, and she went into my room and she took down all those model planes, all those model ships, and she wanted to let me like have them for like 6 months. She was that mad at me. She wouldn't even let me talk about flying ships for like 6 months. She was so angry. I never understood why, and I I get that now. I get that now. Poor mom.
Well, yeah. I think with that, we've completed this ritual. You're welcome to stay submerged and reflect as long as you wish. Same for you, Commander. You may do the same. I realize this isn't directly an issue that I can help you with, but hopefully through Tate you found some clarity.
I certainly found some answers.
Well then, if you ever need to talk to us, you know how. And he kind of just fades, and the whole background kind of fades to this very, like, galactic starlit, like, backdrop amidst sort of this white negative space. And it is only the two of you, Jaloran and Tate, that remain.
I think Tate looks at Jalora and says, "Is there anything we can do to help you?"
She quirks an eyebrow at them.
I'm not an observant commander.
We have some repairs to work on.
Mm-hmm.
They can definitely feel a tug. They're moving somewhere else. In a sense, changing landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
So where they had been mainly with Tate and Hone in their space, it shifts to something that Tate recognizes as more Jaloran's space. It feels more like Jaloran.
As that space shifts, there's a weird sense of amusement that's not your own.
She just notes it and kind of scowls at it and is like, yeah. And then she brings up what would look very familiar to Tate as the interior of a starship or a star base, like those familiar, very Federation make hallways and doors. Look familiar?
Very.
You remember what you did here?
I think I broke you.
You did.
Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to.
There were certainly other ways to go about it.
I know, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry I broke you, but I will help fix you.
At that declaration, there is, with the intent to fix and repair, downwards and out of the pools, once again into these city streets of Trill, Lieutenant Loris has run into a particular Trill prisoner of sorts. And like I said, their spots are kind of almost made like a mask. Their eyes are a little more glassed over. They kind of take note of you, Lieutenant Loris. It's not hard to find them because they kind of stand out mostly. Oh, come on.
Kind of approaches Tim threateningly, as in, you know how in movies you see like those thugs just approaching you,
Yeah.
shoulders forward like that. She's not a much of a detective, but she does know how to intimidate people, sort of. What? Sorry. What was that you said?
Oh, you're not gonna scare me off, girlie. Besides, I have a traitor to deal with.
Well, I have my own things to deal with, and I think your stuff can wait until, I'm settled with what I need. And I need information. She kind of places her hand onto his shoulder, or there are shoulders involved, right?
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
Always get to check it, Star Trek.
Yeah. Absolutely true. Yes. I I need to know who can gain access to the pools with the mental pools, those.
Oh, well, I could easily enough if you step aside.
How about no? I'm not asking you for snark here.
I'm not really asking you to move aside either. It's more of a demand.
I'm not going to be cliche and ask what you're going to do here. I'm just gonna pull this out. And she pulls out her weapon. She will have weapon on her considering she is going into this kind of
Yeah.
hostile territory. Yeah.
Well, kind of pull a hand out of pocket slowly, gripping around something, and then they quickly kind of grab your wrist as well. Alright, Starfleet. You think you're faster than a dead man switch? And actually, we're just gonna end our session right there.
Oh shit!
Oh, come on.
Nope, we are going to end our session right there. Thank you all for watching and tuning in, of course. Couple little things that I was saving for the end here. First of all, the whole Lower Decks 2-shot thing still exists, still a thing. We get to 50 followers, we'll do a Lower Decks 2-shot. I promise it'll happen. Might not happen right when we hit 50, but it will happen. If you have people that are watching or like to watch or and are not followed, please do. We would appreciate that. And a little bit more followers gives us a little bit more ability to do more things, just because the reach is a little greater. Secondly, for our final arc, we will be having a guest player. So, someone from the server, Vance, will be joining us for that last arc because I figure let's make more people suffer. Why not?
Hell yeah.
Seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, woo!
But with all of that, that is all to say, of course, haven't said it in so long, but truly for this session and hopefully for the rest of this season, we hope we are going to be a healthy dose of R&R, and we will see you next time.